Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is CeeChronicles and I post fragrance related content on this platform. Now if you're new and you aren't subscribed and you like that style of content, please do consider subscribing and becoming part of the family. To those who are returning, thank you so much for the continued support. Do take note that I do have a second channel, CeeChronicles Unscripted. The link of that channel is going to be in the description and I'm going to put a little sticker there for ease of reference. In fact, in the description is going to be two links. One link that's going to take you to Unscripted, where I post vlogs as well as Western fragrances, and a second link that's going to take you to a PayPal donate page in case you want to contribute anything at all towards the purchases of some of the fragrances on this channel. Welcome to today's video. I have Ajwad Pink to Pink, and that is what we're going to review, but I just thought to throw in the original Ajwad as a bonus in case you guys haven't watched the original review or do not care to go back and watch the original review. But we're not going to make it a lot about this one because the review is already there. I'm just going to give you a run through for those who want to compare and make a decision as to whether they need the Pink to Pink or this one. So we're going to spray the original one quickly here and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Now the cap is lost because these two fragrances, I've noticed, they come with wobbly caps. The cap was one thing that kept on, it doesn't snuggle. It just keeps shaking about and must have gotten lost somewhere, and the fragrance is still intact, but the cap is no longer there. Now this is built around rose, well, florals, but especially rose, and then a vanilla there, loads of spices, right? Creating a combo that is quite heavy, even stretching it to pungent there. The mix in itself feels as though it draws its inspiration from Mansera's Roses Vanille, but having a very spicy twist to it that makes it align, well, that makes it not have an identity per se, because to say align with Middle Eastern scents is it's not Middle Eastern enough. It's not too spicy to cross over to what I would call Middle Eastern. But again, it's not quintessentially Western, okay, but it is spicy, okay, so it does feel like a spicy kick or a spicy rendition to that Mansera's Roses Vanille, a long-lasting fragrance. This one can come across as heady, bordering on too much, and one that you have to be mindful of the people around you if you are to wear this one, okay? Dries down powdery and musky, but it's going to be value for money because it's quite heavy there. So in a nutshell, that's what I have to say about now. Let's get into the fun part where I tell you about the new one, Pink to Pink. Now, this is not exactly 100% new as it released yesterday, but it's new in my collection. So some of you guys are going to have it already. It sits in this box. And the original also sit in a box like this. Okay, slide out. I'm going to take it out there. And then we're going to spray it on a piece of paper as well. Because I have been doing videos back to back. And I do not have a spare place or arm or skin to spray it on. Okay, so we're going to spray it on that. And this is the close-up of the bottle. Now, this is the cap I was talking about. That it does, it is wobbly there. I just hope I don't lose this cap, this particular one. Because it doesn't look nice without the cap. Okay, so I'm going to spray there as you've seen there, and then we're going to get into it. The first burst is going to be a realistic guava. Now, if you watch my second channel, Unscripted, you will know that I did showcase my yard, and I do have a lot of guava trees, and we have a lot of guava fruit. So the first burst I get here is a prominent, realistic guava. Feels like a ripened guava, especially if you open it and you smell the pink part of it, the seeds of it. It doesn't feel like a guava skin. It feels like the guava seeds, but a very ripened pink guava. So this type of presentation there, does align with what's going on, especially in the opening of that fragrance. And that guava is going to be paired with a lychee. So there's going to be a fizzy brightness to this, not just a sticky fruitiness. It is that guava that's going to be brightened by a lychee that weighs in there, kind of giving a little bit of a fizziness, a little bit of an aquaticness, but not enough to push this to clean. And it is at that point that it's going to almost feel a little bit tropical. And again, the mix of that lychee with that guava, the combo in itself might confuse some for strawberry because it gives off a wafts of like a strawberry mixture there in the opening. Now that burst you're gonna get there for the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It's just gonna depend on how long your nose can hold on to it. This fragrance, guys, to me has 3 sides to it. It's multifaceted. It's got 3 facets, right? So the fruity burst is going to be facet number 1, where it comes across as a fruit punch. You walk into the store, you spray it, you love it. That juicy fruitiness or fizzy fruitiness or strawberry kick or something that feels like that strawberry because of the mix of the guava and the lychee is going to have somebody or some people saying, oh yeah, that's what they meant by pink to pink. This aligns with girly fragrances, right? And then it gets to facet number 2, where it makes a complete U-turn. And it is at that point where it gets to phase 2 that some of you guys are going to feel cheated as to the naming of this fragrance pink to pink, because in the second phase there is a weight of an overwhelming leather that just introduces itself there, bullying everything. The guava and the lychee and the fruits there hanging on to dear life. And then some sourness also being introduced at the same time as this leathery accord. Now the sourness could maybe have probably come from phase 1 of that grapefruit, or it's bouncing off the moss. I don't know, but there is a sour accord that introduces itself in the second phase of this fragrance, which to be on a safe side, let's put it at an hour, but I get it way earlier than an hour, where a leather mix comes there, an ambergris tone to this fragrance comes in there. It then starts to feel synthetic. It then starts to feel very chemical there. It then starts to align with masculine fragrances. This is why I said some of the people that would have jumped on this because of the naming of it will feel disappointed that, wait, is this even a girly fragrance? So if you're a woman out there or you're a girl out there and you're going by the color pink, I would say test this fragrance. However, if you are accustomed to a lot of different fragrances, it might not shock you. It might actually come as a pleasant surprise, the fact that this is not linear, right? But do take note that that synthetic tone, that animalic tone, that chemical vibe there that buries the opening of this fragrance is actually the one that holds on the longest. Remember I said the guava and the other fruits are there, and I said pushing it, I'm going to put it at 1 hour. Now that leathery accord, I'm going to put it even at to 6 hours or somewhere thereabout. This fragrance, for what it is, the fact that it's new feels a lot like it was cut from the same cloth as this. Not in terms of how it smells. It doesn't feel like a continuation of Ajwad. But by cut from the same cloth, I'm saying it feels as though it was created by the same perfumer who created this, where they were going for a beast mode performing fragrance. Still new in my collection, but what it's doing, and if I'm to go by what Ajwad is now doing, having been in my collection for more than a year, this is only going to get worse, right? So it's going to be good news for those who love beast mode fragrances, because it does live to the promise of a long lasting fragrance, especially there when it gets into the dry down and it goes leathery. But unfortunately for those who would have purchased it for the fruit punch, it's going to be the part maybe that you're not going to like. An animalic chemical feel there, something that is a bit disturbing there, something that I do not like, that's mixing with that leather, and the leather is very, very prominent. You're going to get a realistic leather there. Okay, so that is going to be phase 2, and that's going to last for about 5-6 hours in that realm. And then the last phase, the dying stages of the fragrance, at least for now, when that leather thing has really done you in, you're going to get the same tone, but kind of relenting there. The leather is going to still be there, but softening significantly, say in that 5-6 hour mark, where you have literally worn it basically close to half the day, right? That's when it softens, presenting soft florals there, and a musky tone. And then that becomes the wrap up of this fragrance. For those who would have purchased it for that realistic guava, it's going to be a disappointment. It's just a pity that the guava in here ends up being bullied, you know, by that synthetic tone there that can be bothersome for some. So yeah, that is what I can say about it, guys. The cons for Ajwad, the original, are going to be the pushy feel that it has, the heady feel that it has, the fact that it can harass even the people around you, room filling to an extent of being too much, you know, where some people will talk to you but keeping a distance there because your fragrance is quite pushy. That's going to be the con there. But for those who love the beast mode fragrances, is going to be a pro. Right now, the con for this is going to be the short-lived guava or fruity feel in this fragrance. The part where it feels artificial are going to be the cons for this, but in terms of longevity, it's going to tick the boxes for you guys. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. I was here with these two fragrances, guys, Ajwad Pink to Pink, as well as the original Ajwad. If you were to ask me which one I would purchase myself, I would definitely say this one, because this one starts off very polite. It's just a pity that it changes. So for anyone who has this fragrance, let me know how yours has turned out to be. If that guava somewhere in the mix intensifies and then rises to the surface to become the main star of the show, then definitely it's going to be a fragrance that I'm absolutely going to enjoy. So in terms of it being easy on the nose, first off, this one is. This does not, you know, it's not a shy fragrance. It just presents itself as is, bullying, pushy from start to finish, even linear to an extent. So that is why I'd say personally, if I were to recommend, I would recommend this one. But unfortunately, it is those three phases, those three stages that it has that might confuse you. So that's why I had to make sure that I explain this as best I can. And I have noticed that this one has been passed off as a fragrance that feels very similar to Maison Prive Oud Maracuja. So if you love that fragrance, that is another thing I'm going to throw out there. I'm not going to boast of having tested the two together, but if that turns out to be the case, then that's going to be a good thing for those who like that fragrance, because this one is on the affordable side. Do turn on post notifications, guys, while you're at it. That way you get to be notified on both my channels anytime I upload a video. Meanwhile, like and share this one, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.